We'll start our lecture, chapter 28. Okay, last time we already talked about the reproductive organ on male and female. Now we're going to continue with the development. So chapter 28 will be discussing growth, development, okay, and inheritance. Okay, so this is our chapter 28. Now, we're going to have to define this. What is actually this, right? First, growth. Growth. Right? When we talk about human growth, it means that first, increase in number of cells. Especially when we growing from zygote into embryo, into babies, into adults. That's actually, we have a lot of additions of number of cells. Okay, so this is the growth, increase in number of cells. Growth also increase the size of the cell. So when the size of the cells increase, it means that you are becoming bigger, for example, right? So especially when we are adults, there are some cells that do not increase their number. You actually born with the same number of cells. Like for example, muscle cell. Everybody have the same number of muscle cells. It doesn't matter whether you are bodybuilder or just regular person. Their number of cells is actually the same. What makes different? The size. The bodybuilder have more proteins on their muscle cell, therefore they have bigger muscle. So muscle cell is actually do not increase in number, but increase in size. Another cell that everybody have the same number, like neuron. So we have the same number of neurons. Okay, everybody have the same number of neurons. What is the growth for this neuron? Mostly, the growth of neuron is additions of dendrite, which is part of neuron that receive information. The more you study, the more information that you will get, the better your neurons will be growing the dendrites. And the dendrite growing usually really fast during the baby when they are around 3 to 5 or 6 years old. That's the time when the baby learns a lot. And that's the time when the dendrite is increasing a lot. Thousands, millions of dendrites will be made during that time. So there are some cells, again, when we are growing, it's actually not increase the number, but increase the size or maybe increase the connection, like in the neuron. The one that increase the size, example is bone. So when the bone's growing, it's actually your bone have more cell. Then you become taller because of there are more cells. Increase the number of cells. Okay, so just for your information, this is actually what the meaning of growth. Increase the number of cell or maybe increase the size of the cell. Development. Okay, development means it is the development of our body that includes the growth. So when we develop, it actually also include the growth, but also there is another thing, what we call the agings. The agings. So when we are developed, basically we will have more cell, we will have bigger cell. At the same time, that some cell may be reduced in functions, loss functions, and maybe there are some cell that dies. Okay, many cell will die. That's included in the development over here, especially the aging. So basically, when we are growing, when we are adult, when we are old, there are many cells not growing, is not performing the normal function, and basically will die sometime. Nobody will not die. Anybody thinks that you will be living forever? It's not. Because what? Because of this, the process over here. It's called the aging process over here. That's the development. Okay, so anybody have question for this one? For inheritance, we're gonna talk this next week. Okay, on Tuesday, what is inheritance? How that, characteristic genes will be transferred from mother, father to their children. We're gonna talk that on Tuesday next week. Okay. Okay, if you don't have question, then we will discuss this in depth. Okay. Growth and development today. Okay, now development. Okay, basically we're going to talk about development because when we talk about development, it will include the growth. Okay, so development. There are two stages in our development. The first one is called the prenatal stages. Okay, and postnatal stage. Okay, it should be easy to understand. What is natal mean? Born. Okay, so before we born, we are developed. We are developing inside our mother wombs, right? And then after we were born, then we also perform development. So therefore, there are two stages for our development: prenatal and postnatal. Now, for the prenatal, it is divided into three stages. Okay, the first one is called the pre-embryonic stage. The second one will be embryonic stage. And then the last one is called the fetal stage. Get it? And then after that will be born. Will be born. Birth. And then after born, then we'll continue with this postnatal stage. Okay, you get this one? Very straightforward. What? Very straightforward. This is stages of our life. We start from where? From the prenatal, postnatal. Prenatal consists of these three stages over here. Now we're gonna study or discuss one by one. Okay, we start with this first stage, the pre-embryonic stage, which is part of the prenatal stage. Okay, pre-embryonic stage. Okay, you still remember last week we talked about female and male reproductive organs. They produce sperms or eggs, right? Female produce egg and male produce sperm. Okay, now when the sperm meet with the eggs, which is happening in the oviduct of a female, the fallopian tube, then there is a process called the fertilization. So fertilization is a process of meeting the nucleus of the sperm and the nucleus of the eggs. Okay, now I'm gonna kind of draw, let's say this is the eggs. Okay, the eggs. And if it is human, there is a nucleus, and this nucleus carry 23 chromosomes. Remember, humans have 46 chromosomes, but in the eggs it's only 23 because this is meiosis, produce half. So this is eggs. Okay. So these eggs will be released from the ovary. Remember, it is made in ovary. Released from the ovary, the process is called the ovulation. It will go to the oviduct. In the oviduct, it will be ready to receive the sperm, waiting for the sperm. If the sperm does not coming within 24 or 48 days, too much, 24 or 48 hours, okay, basically the eggs will die. Okay? So the life of the egg is only about 2 days in the oviduct. If there is no fertilization, then it will, boom, it will be gone. And that woman will have the menstruation. You get this one? Because the egg is not fertilized. So it's only about waiting 24, 48 hours, only 2 days. It's short time. Now, these eggs, when it is waiting for the sperm, the membrane is actually really, really thick over here. So the egg membranes, the cell membranes over here is really thick. This thick membrane is called the zona pellucida. Okay, so it's protected by this thick membrane. Also on the outside, it will be protected with another thicker membranes that look like a corona. Corona means crown. Okay. Okay, so this one is called the corona. It's a crown structure. Okay, so that's the eggs when it is waiting for the sperm. It is protected by the corona, the crown, and also by the thick zona pellucida. And then, of course, the nucleus, okay, carry 23 chromosomes here. And then this is cytoplasms that has a lot of hormone, enzyme, proteins, and etc. that will be ready for creating baby later. Okay. So most of your body is actually coming from the mothers. So your mother is actually the one that gives a lot of eating to us. The father is, yes, give something, but after that is just go. Right? So what the father give? Look, father will be here. Okay, let's say the sperm coming. Let's say this is sperm. Okay, so the sperm have to swim from the vagina into the oviduct to reach the eggs. It is actually very long distance they have to swim because they are very small, right? They are very small, which is microscopic. They have to swim for this long distance. So basically, the sperm is really, really strong. And the one that make us, that create us, making us is actually the strongest one. So we are the product of the competition of this sperm. So how many sperm actually will be released during ejaculation? There are about 200 until 600 million sperm. You can imagine. Okay, let's say average 500 million sperm is actually compete to the eggs. Get this? They swim. Now, you still remember what? Male produce 300 million sperm per day. When it is ejected, there are about 200 to 600 million sperm will be ejected. And it is go to the female organs. It will be swim. The one that reaches to the eggs, maybe hundreds or maybe thousands. It's not million anymore. So basically, majority of the sperm will not be able to reach the eggs. What? They will die on the way. Okay, so about hundreds or maybe thousands reach the eggs. When they're reaching the eggs, let's say 100 of them, then they start to digest this corona radiata. That's the name of this crown. Digest this, they produce the acro enzymes. Okay, so the sperm actually carry enzyme that will digest this. Okay, and then from 1,000 or from 100, maybe only several that reach the zona pellucida. Let's say maybe only 10 of them get this. So this is competition. It's a very, very, very strict or very strong competition over here in order to reach the eggs. Again, also just remember, each of these sperm carry 23 chromosomes, right? Okay, 23 chromosomes over here. Now, when they reach the zona pellucida, basically only one, just for your information, only one sperm able to penetrate the zona pellucida. Only one from that millions. So when they penetrate the zona pellucida, they will not penetrate all. They actually just release, let's say this one that's able to penetrate the zona pellucida. This is only releasing the nucleus, which is carry 23 chromosome. The rest of part of the the sperm, like the tail, the cytoplasms, they all will stay outside the eggs. Only nucleus enter into the eggs, and this will be combined, to make 46 chromosome, to make a cell that carry 46 chromosome. This process is called the fertilization, which is combinations of the sperm nucleus and the egg nucleus. Okay, that's fertilization. So whenever this one sperm able to release the nucleus inside the eggs, then what happened? This zona pellucida will become even thicker and actually will cleave the other sperm out from it. So basically the other sperm will be gone because of this penetration of just one sperm. So just remember again, only one sperm will fertilize eggs. One sperm, one egg. Maybe you have question, how about twins? Twin is actually happening after here. When during the cell division, the zygote divide into many cells. Some cell is actually separate to create different individual. So you have twin. That's going to be identical twins. How about non-identical twin? It might be happening, you remember, female have 2 eggs, right? Maybe both eggs is actually released. There are 2 eggs, and that's going to be 2 fertilization on that female. Then they will have what? They will have twin. If it is happening, usually this is going to be non-identical twin. You might have what? Male and female. If it is male and female, it will be non-identical twins. Babies. But if it is babies, both male or both female, most likely it's gonna identical to it. It's happening after fertilization. Okay? Okay. Do you have question for this one? So this is what we call the fertilization, which is the first process of the pre-embryonic stage. Okay. Very clear, right? That's how we actually develop, okay, inside the mother. In this case, we are still in the oviduct, not in the uterus yet. It is happening in the oviduct. You got this one? Okay, now, I'm going to erase this. We're going to continue with the next process. Okay. After fertilizations, okay, then it will produce what we call the zygote. Okay, zygote is one cell. Okay, this is a cell that carries 46 chromosome now. 46 chromosome. We're talking about humans. Okay. We're talking about human development. Okay? Now it's become what we call the zygote. Okay? Let's say we're gonna. Okay, so 46 chromosome over here. Now, this zygote, while still in the oviduct, will perform what we call the cleavage. What is cleavage? Cleavage is a series of mitosis cell division. Series of mitosis. Okay? Now, this zygote, which is one cell, carry 46 chromosome, then will divide. Okay? Will divide, performing mitosis, is become what? You have two cells now. Okay? A structure that have two cells. Each carry 46 because this is mitosis, right? Two cells. And then divide again. Now become structure that carry 4 cells. Okay, so 46, 46, 46. So each cell will carry 46 chromosomes. So this is a mitosis. And then from 4 is divide again. Become how many cells? After 4. Remember, every division will become 2, right? 1 become 2, 2 become 4, 4 become Mason? 4 become, come on, 1 become 2, 2 become 4, 4 become 8. 8. Okay? So 8. So 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 cells. Structure that carry 8 cells. You with me? And this structure is called morula. Okay? So from zygote, this is zygote, perform the cleavage to make 8 cell structure is called morula. Now morula start to kind of gliding down to the uterus. Okay? So from the ovary, remember the okay, let's just look like this. This is uterus. This is oviduct. Okay, and this is place for fertilization. Zygote will be produced here. The zygote then will cleavage to produce morula, right? And morula will gliding down to this uterus, moving to the uterus. transfer to the uterus. While it is transferring, it is continue the cell division, produce into the cell that have maybe about 126 cell, 126 cell, because it's divided 2 by 2 by 2. So 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, what is after 32? 64, 128 over here, cell. Okay, you follow this? They just do cell division like that. This is growth also. This is part of the growth during the embryonic stage, pre-embryonic stage. So this cell that carry about 100 cell, or this structure that have 100 cell, now is called the blastocyst. Blastocyst. Okay, so blastocyst. And the blastocyst, okay, now this is going here, and there's going to be blastocyst over here. Blastocyst. This is the one that will be implanted into the uterus. So blastocyst is the one that will attach to the uterus. So that process is called the implantation. Implantation. Okay, which is blastocyst attached to the uterine wall, to the uterus. Okay, you follow this? Okay, the one that attached to the uterine wall is called the blastocyst. It has about 128 cells continuously. Are you with me? After that, okay, this blastocyst continuously also growing, which is perform cell division, divide into many, maybe thousands of cells. The process is called the gastrulation. Okay, gastrulation. Remember last week we mentioned about the female process and male process. Male process is really simple, which is from the spermatogenesis, spermiation, what? And then ejaculation. That's it. But female, they have a lot of process over here. Yeah, after ovulation, there are still a lot of process. So after implantations, the blastocyst continuously to develop, growing into what we call the gastrula. Okay, gastrula. The process is called the gastrulation, which is production of gastrula. It is happening in here. Now it's become gastrula. Now what is the special for gastrula? We're gonna put it here, the gastrula. Now instead of rounds, the gastrula is now become long. You know, it's creating what's going to be the head, what's going to be the tail. What is in the front, the back, the top, the dorsal, or the ventral. So when it is gastrula, it's going to be kind of look like this. Let's say this is going to be the head side. This is the tail side. Okay, and this is, let's say, the dorsal part, and this is going to be the ventral part. Okay, it's now it's elongated structure, and this is what we call it gastrula. You follow this? Now, if we cut the gastrula, boom, like this, it's called the plane. What? It's cross. Remember the cross plane, the transverse plane. Then look, the section of this cutting, we're gonna have look like this. Let's say this is look like cylinder, right? Long cylinder. When we cut it, then you're gonna see the round. We're going to see the circle from here. We're going to see from the section, from the cutting. Now, when we cut this gastrula, then it's going to be created 3 layers of cell. The outer layer, it's going to be consist of many cells over here. This outer layer is called the ectoderm. Okay, and then there will be middle layer. Consists of cells in the middle layer. This middle layer is called the mesoderms. Okay, then there will be the inside layer. This one is called the endoderms. Okay, and the empty space. This is actually space. It's going to be, because we cut it here, it's going to be long space over here, right? Okay, long space. Like a canal, like a lumen. Right? That space is become, this is called the archenteron or primitive gut. So it's actually become our gut. The lumens of our GI tract. Remember we talked about GI tract last time on the digestive system. The lumen of GI tract is actually coming from this archenteron. You follow this? Now, these 3 layers then will be developed into organs of our body, right? Organs of our body, tissue and organs. Now, for the ectoderm over here, okay, the ectoderm mostly will create organs in our surface of our body. Basically, skin. Skin is made from this ectoderm. So, skin is made from ectoderm cell. It is logical, right? Because this is the outside. But there is another organ that seems to be unlogical because it is inside our body. It is actually developed from the ectoderm, which is what? Which is the nervous system, brain and spinal cord. It's actually developed from the ectoderm. How? We're going to learn that later. Okay? Why the brain, which is basically inside our body, even if it is covered by the bone, is coming from ectoderm. Okay? Another easy organ is the endoderm over here. The endoderm will create GI tract organs. Mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestine, rectum, anus, they're all created from the endoderm cell. And again, it is logical because it is inside. And it is long following this gut, the archenteron. Now, how about the mesoderm? Again, it's easy. It's logical. Any organs between the skin and the GI tract organ will be made from the mesoderm cell. What is that? Like, for example, the heart, muscle, bones, liver, kidney, any organs. Any organs that's located between the gut and the skin, they're actually made from the mesoderm layers. So this is what we call the gastrula. Gastrula over here, which is coming from the blastocyst that perform process is called the gastrulation. Okay, now after gastrulation, what is the next process going to be? There is a process called the neurulation. Neurulation. neurulation, which is a process of creating the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, brain and spinal cord. Now it start to create the brain and spinal cord organs. That's after gastrulation. So when we look at here on the dorsal area over here, let's say this is dorsal area on the top, this is ventral. Okay, during the neurulations, this dorsal part of ectoderm is actually going down. Okay, it's called the invaginations. There is a process called the invaginations. So the dorsal part of the ectoderm is going down, entering into the mesoderm. Okay, it's going down, boom, like it's, okay. And then what happens after it is going down here? Later, during the embryonic development, it closes. Okay, it's closed. When the baby growing, it will be closing. Then you don't see it again on the back. And then what happened? This cell from the ectoderm is now become brain. If it's in the front part, it's become brain. Oh, sorry. Over here. So you're going to have long organ like this. So brain. And then it's going to be spinal cord. It's actually coming from the ectoderm. That's the reason why ectoderm is actually creating our skin, brain, and spinal cord due to this process. Now, there is some kids, when they born, their back is actually not closing. This is an abnormality. The abnormality called the spinal bifida. So it's not closing. So actually, doctor can see the spinal cord on the back. So they have to do surgery to close that back. It's called a disease or abnormality called the spinal bifida. It is telling us, yes, there is an invagination of brain and spinal cord that's coming from the ectoderm cell. That's the reason why, again, the brain and spinal cord is made from the ectoderm layer. It's not mesoderm layer, even though it is located between the skin and the gut. Okay? That's what we call the neurulation over here, the process of creating the brain and the spinal cord. Okay? And then the next process gonna be organs development. Okay? It's also called as a specializations. Again, this ectoderm, mesoderm, endoderm, then will create organs that related to them. The ectoderm will create the skin organs, the mesoderm then creating the heart, the muscle, the bone, the liver, and many organs inside our body. And the endoderm cell will creating the digestive tract organs, mouth, esophagus, stomach, intestine, rectum, anus. That's the organs development. Starting from that, then we have the second part of this prenatal stages, which is the embryonic stage. So this is going to be embryonic stage, which is development of organs. Okay, now the organ becomes specialized, become the bones, become the heart, respirations, and etc. And just for information, the last organ that's developed is actually respiratory organs and the digestive organ. You still remember when in the respiratory organ there are 3 cells in the lungs. One of them is type 2 cell that produce the surfactants. They are developed actually when the baby 8 months old in the mother wombs. That's the reason there is a premature, less than 8 months premature. What happened? That baby is actually difficult to breathe because their lung is not developed yet. So the lungs development, the respiratory organ development is kind of in the last stages of the baby's development. It's 8 months, just 1 month before they born. Now, embryonic stage, again, this is the development of organ. And the last stage for the prenatal stage is called the fetal stage. This is the time when the organs will create, the structure part of our body. Where is the head? Where is the belly? Legs, etc. And this embryonic stage and fetal stage over here is really, really sensitive to chemicals. Okay, a long time ago, maybe in 1970, there are many mothers that when they have pregnancy, they feel bad, right? It's not easy. It's not easy, right, to carry a baby. They usually throwing up. What happened? Some doctor actually prescribe some medicine to make that woman feel relaxed or good. One of them is called the thalidomide. This is one of the prescription medicine that mostly prescribed in 1970, 1960, when the woman pregnant, just to make they feel easy. And then what happened? This thalidomide is actually mess up with this embryonic and fetal stage. It's actually causing the baby to born maybe without limbs, for example. Baby born without ear, without nose, or facial face is messed up. Why? Because this medicine, this drug actually disturb the embryonic stage and the fetal stage of the baby. So any drugs that disturbing the development of embryo is called the teratogenic. Teratogenic. Teratogenic means drugs that disturb the embryonic development. And usually, we can see when the baby born, they may be born without legs, without limbs, and etc. It happens. It's 1970, 1980 when doctor give this prescription. Now it is banned. It is in a ban from the drugs. Okay, you cannot prescribe this thalidomide, even though it can ease, the feeling of that woman, but it will actually disturb the embryo development. Okay, so do you have question for this? Okay, the prenatal stage, and then postnatal stage. You actually know it. You develop from baby, starting from baby, and then youth, young adult, and finally old. And that's the process. It's again the process of creating, for example, dendrites, connections is usually happening during early development age. So baby 5, 3, 4 years old, their brain is developed very, very fast. But when we get older, it's slowing down. Especially if you do not use your brain, that brain is slowing down. The more you use, don't worry. Some people say, don't use your brain, you become crazy. No, actually use your brain. Because when you use your brain, the brain work. The connection is more. Your brain is actually become sharp. If you don't use it, it's become dull. So that's actually part of our development. The same thing with the muscle. The same thing with the muscle. If we never use our muscle, the muscle become very, very small. Very, very small. But if we use it, that's become strong and bigger. But don't too much, because it's too much also is not good. So some people use their muscle too much, it's what happened. Their muscle become hypertrophic. What? Just big, but it's not strong. Some muscle like that, the big, but it's not strong because it's hypertrophic. Or maybe there's a stretch on the muscle, there is a damage on the muscle if we overuse. So disuse, overuse is also not good. Use based on their function, the brain, the muscle. The same thing with the bone. Okay, when we do not protect our bones during our development, our bone become fragile. If we protect them, we use it, we do exercise, for example, our bone become stronger, harder. Diet also will, really help us or support us with this growing and development after or the postnatal stage. Do you have questions so far? Now, there is one thing for the woman after the baby born, the bones is called the part 2. Okay, so this is main birth. Okay. Okay, partition is actually separating of baby to the mother. Okay, that's the birth process. Now, after the birth process, the mother actually still have to take care of the baby. Therefore, there are still hormones that will be working on the female. Like, for example, oxytocin. Okay, oxytocin. This is the hormones that used for milk ejection. So the milk will be ejected by this oxytocin. There is another hormone, it's called the prolactin. Okay, this is milk productions. This is milk ejection. There is another hormone, it's called lactogens. It's actually produced by placenta during the pregnancy. This is also used for milk productions. Okay, so when the mother taking care of the baby, like breastfeeding, they will produce a lot of prolactin, and this prolactin actually kind of delay the next pregnancy. So the woman that do the breastfeeding usually will not have baby sooner. But if they stop breastfeeding, for example, they stop the production of milk, they have the higher probability to have ovulation, which is the ability to have a new baby. So breastfeeding women, usually they will not have a baby for about maybe another 1 year or 2 years during their breastfeeding. But if they stop breastfeeding, then they will produce the eggs right away, and then ovulation. Thus, increase the probability of having a baby. So like breastfeeding actually can delay the next pregnancy. Okay, that's the maybe the reasons if you want to kind of delay pregnancy, the breastfeeding can help also, because of this prolactin is actually inhibit the production of FSH and LH, which is the hormone that stimulate productions of the eggs and ovulation. Okay, do you have questions?